Shalom, welcome back to the Zohar Parsha series. Today we are entering the holy light of Shavuot, and I want to begin very simply. In the weekly rhythm, when Shavuot falls into the week, the regular Parsha pauses, and the festival reading rises to the center. So this is not just another portion in the cycle. This is the moment of standing at Sinai again. In the diaspora calendar for this year, Shavuot runs from Thursday evening through Shabbat, and the Shabbat reading is Shavuot. The first day brings us to Exodus 19 and 20, the revelation at Mount Sinai, and the Ten Commandments. The second day brings Deuteronomy 14 to 16, the laws of the festivals, and the command to rejoice before God. We also read from Numbers 28, the special offering of the day, and many communities read the book of Ruth. But according to the Zohar, Shavuot is even deeper than a memory of the past. It is not only once upon a time the Torah was given. It is right now the Torah is being given again. The Zohar sees Shavuot as a wedding day. The Holy One is the king. The Shechinah is the bride. And the people who love Torah become the friends of the bridal chamber. That is such a beautiful image, because most people think spiritual work is about trying to climb upward, trying to force revelation, trying to become important, trying to prove something. But the Zohar gives us a different picture. On the night of Shavuot, the true spiritual servant is not the star of the wedding. He is not the groom. He is not the bride. He is one of the friends helping the bride prepare. That means the question of Shavuot is not how much do I know. The question is, am I helping the Shechinah become revealed in this world? The Zohar describes Rabbi Shimon and the companions sitting through the night, learning Torah, moving from Torah to prophets, to writings, to deeper explanations, to the inner secrets of wisdom. And all of this study is called the ornaments of the bride. So, when a person learns Torah on Shavuot night, according to the Zohar, he is not just collecting information. He is placing jewels on the Shechinah. Every verse becomes an ornament. Every word spoken with love becomes a crown. Every sincere thought becomes a small light added to the holy body of the bride. This changes everything. Because if Torah is only information, then we can turn it into ego. I know more than you. I read more than you. I understand more than you. But if the Torah is an ornament for the Shechinah, then learning becomes service. It becomes love. It becomes preparation for union. The whole story of Shavuot begins before Shavuot. It begins with the counting of the Omer, the 49 days we count, day after day, week after week. Not because God forgets the calendar, but because the soul needs a ladder. 49 is the number of refinement. 7 weeks, 7 emotional chambers. Hesed, Gevurah, Tiferet, Netzach, Hod, Yesod, and Malkuth. Each one inside the other. Love inside discipline. Discipline inside beauty. Endurance inside humility. Foundation inside sovereignty. Every day of the Omer is like another layer of dust being removed from the mirror. And then comes the 50th. The 50th gate cannot be forced. It is received. That is why Shavuot is so mysterious. We count 49 days, but the Torah does not tell us a fixed calendar date in the same simple way. The day arrives after the count. It is born from completion. The Zoharic way of seeing this is powerful. The lower world prepares. The upper world descends. Human beings count, cleanse, study, stay awake, and make themselves ready. But the 50th gate, the gate of Binah, the higher understanding, is given from above. That is Sinai. Sinai is not human achievement. Sinai is divine response. When Israel stood at the mountain, the entire world became quiet. The mountain burned. The voice of God thundered, and the boundary between heaven and earth opened. But the deepest part of the event was not noise. It was not spectacle. It was union. The king and the bride met beneath the canopy. The written Torah descended like light. The soul of Israel stood below like a vessel. And the Shechinah, the divine presence within the world, was lifted, adorned, and joined to her source. This is why the Zohar connects Shavuot with immortality. At Sinai, the light was so strong that the spiritual root of death was pushed away. Death does not only mean the body stops breathing. Death is separation. Death is forgetfulness. Death is disconnection from the source. Death is the coldness that enters speech. relationships, purpose, and joy. When Torah is truly received, that death force loses its grip. A person may still live in the physical world with bills, family, responsibilities, delays, frustration, and weakness. But something inside becomes alive again. The soul remembers where it came from. The voice at Sinai says, "I am the Lord your God." Not only I was the Lord your God, I am. Present tense. This is why Shavuot is not only historical. The revelation is alive now. Every year, when Shavuot returns, the same gate opens. The same light becomes available. The question is whether we are awake enough to receive it. And being awake does not only mean physically staying up all night. That can be beautiful if a person has the strength. But the deeper awakening is consciousness. Am I awake to the words I speak? Am I awake to the people around me? Am I awake to the small places where the Shechinah is waiting to be honored? The Zohar teaches that the companions prepare the bride with study. But in daily life, we also prepare the bride with how we live. When you speak gently instead of harshly, you adorn the bride. When you forgive instead of feeding bitterness, you adorn the bride. When you choose holiness in private, when nobody sees you, you adorn the bride. When you do your work honestly, when you carry responsibility quietly, when you protect your inner light instead of wasting it, you adorn the bride. This is the secret of Shavuot. Revelation does not come only to the loud. It comes to the prepared. Now, let us look at the readings. On the first day of Shavuot, we hear the account of Sinai from Exodus. The people arrive in the wilderness. They camp opposite the mountain. Moses ascends. God says that Israel will become a treasured people, a kingdom of priests, and a holy nation. Notice that this is said before the 10 Commandments. Before the laws, God speaks identity. You are treasured. You are priestly. You are holy. This is important because many people approach Torah only as command and restriction. But in the inner reading, commandment is born from identity. You do not become holy because you are crushed by rules. You receive commandments because your soul is already capable of carrying holiness. The commandment is the vessel. The soul is the flame. Then comes the voice, do not make idols. Do not misuse the divine name. Remember Shabbat. Honor father and mother. Do not murder. Do not commit adultery. Do not steal. Do not bear false witness. Do not covet. On the surface, these are moral laws. But in the Zoharic light, they are also repairs of perception. Do not make idols means do not shrink the infinite into something your ego can control. Do not misuse the name means do not use sacred language for empty power. Remember Shabbat means do not let the world convince you that doing is your only value. Honor father and mother means honor the channels through which life entered this world. Do not murder means do not cut another soul away from its divine dignity. Do not steal means do not take energy, time, credit, or blessing that is not yours. Do not bear false witness means do not twist reality with the tongue. Do not covet means do not let your desire become a thief inside your own heart. These words are thunder, but they are also medicine. They restore the human being back into alignment. On the second day, the reading from Deuteronomy speaks of giving, release, festivals, and appearing before God with offerings. This is also deeply Zoharic. After Sinai, the question becomes, how does revelation become life? It becomes life through generosity, through sacred time, through releasing what must be released, through bringing the first and best of ourselves to God. Shavuot is also called the festival of weeks, and it is tied to first fruits. That means the light of Sinai is not meant to remain as an idea. It must become fruit. What fruit has your soul grown this year? What has matured in you through the counting? What can you now bring before God, not as performance, but as offering? This is why Ruth is so fitting for Shavuot. Ruth is not dramatic in the way people expect. She does not receive thunder at a mountain. She walks a quiet path of loyalty. She follows Naomi. She enters a people not by force, but by love. She gleans in the field. She moves with humility. And from her line comes King David. That is pure Zoharic mystery. Sometimes the greatest revelation enters the world through quiet loyalty. Sometimes, kingship is hidden inside a woman gathering fallen grain. Sometimes, the future of redemption is born from someone who simply refuses to abandon love. So, Shavuot gives us two pictures at once: Sinai with thunder, Ruth in the field. One is cosmic revelation, the other is embodied devotion. And we need both. If you only have thunder, you may become spiritual, but ungrounded. If you only have the field, you may become practical, but forget the fire. Shavuot brings them together, the voice from heaven and the kindness on earth, the crown above and the grain below, the king and the bride. According to the Zohar, the night before revelation is preparation. The day of revelation is union. But after revelation comes responsibility. So, what should we actually do with this energy? First, receive Torah like it is new. Do not approach it as old information. Do not say, I already know this verse. The ego says, I already know. The soul says, show me again. Second, prepare your vessel. A clustered vessel cannot receive clearly. This does not mean you need to be perfect. It means you need sincerity. A sincere vessel, even if cracked, can receive more light than a polished vessel filled with pride. Third, adorn the Shechinah with your speech. On Shavuot, let your words become cleaner, less complaint, less mockery, less careless judgment, more blessing, more gratitude, more truth. Fourth, remember that Torah is union, not information. The goal is not to sound wise. The goal is to become joined to God, joined to the soul, joined to the holy purpose of your life. And fifth, carry Sinai into ordinary life. Because after the mountain, people still had to walk. They still had to eat, build, forgive, lead, fail, repent, and continue. That is where Torah becomes real. The Zohar does not let us reduce Shavuot to a holiday of cheesecake and customs. Those can be beautiful, but they are not the center. The center is this: the bride is being prepared, the king is approaching, and the world is waiting for the union of heaven and earth. And every soul has a role. Maybe your role this year is not public. Maybe your role is hidden. Maybe it is simply to study one verse with your whole heart. Maybe It is to repair one relationship. Maybe it is to stop speaking death over your own life. Maybe it is finally receive the Torah, not as pressure, but as love. Because the voice at Sinai is not only command, it is covenant. It is God saying, I am giving myself to you through these words. And the soul answers, Na'asheh ve'nishma. We will do and we will hear. First we commit, then we understand. That is the secret. The deepest Torah is not received by the mind alone. It is received by loyalty, humility, and love. So as Shavuot comes, may we be among the companions of the bride. May our learning become ornaments. May our words become jewels. May our silence become a chamber. May our homes become small mountains of Sinai. May the 50th gate open over us with mercy. And may the Torah be given to us again, not only as text, but as living fire. Shavuot Sameach. Shalom.